Today, we will cover the riot of January 6th, 1 year later. Unlike the basket of biased press and the rest of the American left wing, we will give you the complete picture of what happened and what didn't happen on that day. January 6th, 1 year later. That's our focus in tonight's preamble. We were here live on that day last year when a small group of people preceded and splintered away from the over 100,000 peaceful protesters who simply wanted their voices heard by tone-deaf Washington, D.C. I said this of the rioters. A lot of those individuals who broke into the Capitol need to have the full extent of the law brought down upon them. If we're going to sit here and condemn the violence from the Democrats who have been on our streets for 8 months, we can certainly, as conservatives and as constitutionalists, also condemn those who have breached the law today in the nation's capital. My views have not changed since then. The scant few who broke laws deserve to be punished to the fullest extent of those laws. They also deserve equal justice under the law. I have held that position for all rioters and vandals. Unlike deranged, dishonest cowards, I refuse to undertake propaganda even to benefit my political worldview.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly, but fires have been started.
As a conservative, I revere the rule of law and the United States Constitution. I believe in the equal application of that law. One's political ideology should not increase or decrease punishment under the law. That would be anti-American and morally bankrupt. Americans have endured years of riots, looting, arson, beatings, and killings at the hands of the American left. Those riots continue to this day. For 1 day of trespassing and vandalism, many of these 725 January 6 rioters have been held in detention in deplorable conditions. Meanwhile, BLM and Antifa rioters have had charges dropped or been given proverbial slaps on the wrist for far more violent, dangerous, and egregious crimes. The January 6th rioters have been falsely accused by elected officials and mental midgets in the media of, quote, insurrection. January 6th was not an insurrection. If you want to see a real insurrection, just look to the city of Seattle, where BLM terrorists seized 6 blocks of an American city, armed, and declared that territory to be outside of the United States jurisdiction. That is an insurrection. But the facts show that none, not one of those detained or prosecuted for the January 6th riot have been charged with insurrection or sedition. To that, I will say these 5 words: Nicholas Sandmann and Kyle Rittenhouse. To all of you who have been found guilty of lesser crimes, or to those who will be found not guilty, in my opinion, you have fat and juicy lawsuits against anyone who libeled you by making known false allegations of insurrection or sedition at you. This includes media personalities, their companies, and politicians. Lastly, I want to address the farce that is the January 6th Commission directly. You deviants on this kangaroo court are not fooling anybody, not even your own side. Now, for the rest of you, my fellow Americans, I want you to ask yourself this question. Why would crying Kinzinger, Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and other left-wing extremists get their panties in a bunch over a day of trespassing and vandalism, but do nothing to address real insurrection and years of lawless violence and anarchy plaguing America's neighborhoods? Now, here's my opinion. First, Liz Cheney and crying Kinzinger can't stop President Trump by doing their jobs to protect their own constituents and the American people. And that leads me to the second reason for the January 6th Commission. As BLM and Antifa terrorists rampage through our streets, setting buildings on fire, looting businesses, beating people to a pulp, and killing law enforcement officers, former law enforcement officers, and everyday citizens, Cheney, Kinzinger, Pelosi, Schiff, and the rest were safe in their little bubble in Washington. They sat back and watched our people suffer for years and lifted not a finger, not one investigation, not one commission. But on January 6th, Cheney, Kinzinger, and the rest were inconvenienced. They were annoyed, maybe even a little concerned. AOC claimed she was traumatized. So that's why the January 6th Commission was founded. The elites were forced to endure 1 mild day of what Americans have been enduring for years. Liz Cheney and crying Kinzinger don't mind when American citizens and their constituents are cowering in a corner somewhere, watching their towns burn down, terrified of brutal socialist Democrat violence at the hands of Antifa and BLM terrorists. Oh, but they do care when they have to live in the world they created for the rest of us, if only for a couple of hours. The January 6th Commission was formed because the elites got upset. All well and good if you forget that they are supposed to be in the swamp looking out for us, not themselves.